I started my journey of trying to get through my backlog of games back in November of 2022. Currently, it's March of 2023, so within 4 short months I'm proud to say that I've made some progress. And I really do mean some. Now this isn't where I come in and do a detailed review of every single game that I've played. If you want that, then feel free to go and have a look at my blog where I've started writing a post every time I finish a game with some sort of review. This is just where I talk about my experience so far with trying to get through this backlog and how it actually feels to try and attempt to do something like this. Out of the over 300 games that are on my backlog, in the last 4 months I've managed to successfully finish 9 of them. Now, in reality, that is barely anything. In 4 months I've managed to do a very solid 3% of my backlog. One of the issues I've been having is the balance of time between different games. As I've managed to finish 9 of them, I'm currently playing through 36. And when I say I'm playing 36, I mean that I've started on them and then just moved on to something else. So realistically, it isn't working the way that I had hoped that it would. Now, to be honest, there are a few good reasons for this. Some games are better played with friends, so when they start, it isn't like I can just carry on playing them alone, because it would feel strange to do so. For example, I'm playing through Sons of the Forest with my friend, and then to play it through solo would just feel strange. Then there's other games where you start and then you get distracted halfway through. This happens more often than not. My most recent example of this happening is that I only really have the mental capacity to work on one large open world game at a time. So I was going through Cyberpunk 2077, but then Hogwarts Legacy came out. And as you can probably tell from the last few videos that I've made, I've been enjoying Hogwarts Legacy a lot, so that means that I've put Cyberpunk back on the shelf for a little bit. I also have the issue that in the last 4 months since I posted this video, I have somehow acquired even more games. Some of that is taking advantage of Steam sales and grabbing a few new releases that I'm either really excited for or that I want to use as a talking point. I've also been gifted a fair few games, which is a lovely thing for people to do, but I actually do think that I've now got more new games in the last 4 months than I have actually managed to finish. In fact, I know that to be true, because I brought the entire Prince of Persia series, which alone was 5 games. That was for a video though, so I guess we can kind of write that one off. I also find it a bit difficult. I play an awful lot of simulator games, so trying to work out when you're done with those is almost impossible. I could always just play a little bit more, you know. Then there's the game that just becomes too difficult or too unbearable. An example of a game being too unbearable for me is Inscription. I'm not saying that it's a bad game by any means, but it's a card-based game and for me, I just find it too underwhelming and too uninteresting. In The Witcher, I would also struggle with Gwent. It isn't anything against the developers or the community that love the game. Sadly, it just isn't really one for me. I am, however, determined to try and finish it at some point. And for that reason it is still on my backlog, with little to no chance of it coming off anytime soon. Now this is where I think I have a problem. Admitting defeat on a project or a game is almost against my nature. I need to get better at learning when to quit when it comes to a game. I should only really use my time playing the games that I actually enjoy, and yet for some reason I'll allow myself to get annoyed by games that really don't interest me. This doesn't really apply to Souls games though. They're supposed to be challenging, and that's the type of game that it is. But clearly, I'm just too dumb for games that are based around puzzles, and apparently cards too. Taking a look at some of the games that I've actually managed to finish so far over the last few months, most of them are just smaller indie titles. Plate Up, Moonlighter, and Superhot stand up bigger than the rest, and after taking a big look at it, it seems like really I've been looking at this all wrong. I need to try and work on the bigger titles first. I was ticking boxes off my list and feeling great, and then I got into a slum by being caught in between Cyberpunk and Hogwarts Legacy. Now that I have so many games that I've started, I'm not going to start anymore until these ones are done. There's 2 games that I will most likely always drift between. These are Call of Duty and Fortnite. These aren't really games that you can complete, but they're still the games that I play with my friends, and to be honest, they're the games I will fall to. Whenever I want to play a game to pass the time, but don't want to actually have to concentrate too much on it, if that makes any sense. They're what I would refer to as a mindless game. I've decided it is time to revise the strategy. I'm going to try and bring my list of games down to 5 games being played at a time, which also seems like an awful lot, but in comparison to 36 I have going right now, it makes a lot of sense to bring them down to that level. There's also a reason for it being 5 games instead of the standard 1 or 2, and here's the reason for that. The first 2 will be the games that I just mentioned, Call of Duty and Fortnite, because they aren't really games that can be finished, but they are games that I will definitely be playing. So we'll go 1, Call of Duty, 2, Fortnite. Then at number 3 we have our main game of choice. Right now that is Hogwarts Legacy, but it will change once that is completely finished. At number 4 we have whatever multiplayer game I'm playing with my friends at the time. Examples of this are games like The Forest, The House of the Dead, and Play Up. Then at number 4 will be an indie game. I know it seems a little bit overkill, but at the moment I'm trying to also expand my taste in games, from being just first-person shooters and story-based action games. Well, that, and I'm also doing a segment on the channel where I pick my favourite indie game that I've played during the month, so it kinda has to be a part of my backlog, or else that segment will definitely fail. Now the last few months of this challenge haven't gone down particularly well, and I feel like with a new strategy, the next few months will try and hopefully get it down a little bit better. And hopefully, during my next update, there will be some better tips to help other people manage their backlogs, and hopefully I'll have a little bit more to show for it. But if you've got any advice or tips that you've used to get through your backlog, feel free to let me know them down below. I'm always up for a chat, and if you've enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.